I was enjoying the divine
door, and there you are.
I was enjoying the divine shower. We got rinsed.
Oh my God.
Oh, I'm ducking and diving. I don't know. How many kids were on this stage last night? 26 kids were on this stage from the Bright Star organization doing their winter show, and it was just a delight for everybody but John. How are you today? Are you okay? John was their tech supervisor, so he was here for it, and they had the whole space. It was just, that kind of energy, having kids in a building like that is exciting. He sent a video of it, and it was just on fire. They were electric, and I was thinking, I'm glad I'm not there. They were screaming and running. It was great, though. It was fantastic. So congratulations to Bright Star. If you're watching, congratulations. Good morning to our Facebook folks and to anybody that's watching on YouTube or on cslsemivalley.org. So we're out there all over the place spreading our lovely message, rinsing people off with truth and love and joy. Feels so good. What does Spirit say when you make a request?
Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby. You know who else says that same thing all the time? When you ask them to do something, they just say, could you stand up and do a little ushering today?
Well, yes.
Could you come up and maybe put the signs out for us this week?
Give me a Y, give me an E, give me an F.
That's what the Schaefers do, and that's why they're this week's Volunteer of the Month. So come on up. Yes, I know you've gotten it before, but it was before COVID. So this is coming back around because you keep on showing up all the time, and we just want to thank you for that, and also ask you if you want to say anything about it.
Just thank you. We're always here to be a part of you, all of you, and thank you for welcoming us always.
That's for sure. We always consider everybody here our family, and have some people we've grown very fond of, and you're one of them.
Well, I was going to say it's right back at you. We're very fond of you. Thank you for your work on our stewardship committee as well. And I think you guys are you lead on one of the weeks?
Yes.
Is this
third week?
Week 3, lead on week 3 and showing up today. Thank you so much for your support of the center. It's fantastic. Yes, indeed. And there is still space on our service teams, and there's also other areas you can work out. Like Terry is up in the booth right now learning how to do directing. Wait a minute. I think she's in the director's chair today. Yeah, she's pushing the buttons today on our new cameras that move and tilt and pan all on their own. Have you noticed when you come into the sanctuary you don't see cameras anymore? But there are cameras everywhere. There's a camera right here. Then there's a camera back at the back of the room now inside a little box. Then we got the camera right up here. And so with that, we can see the whole space. And pretty soon, there'll be a camera right there so everybody at home can see you too. Yeah, that's how we're working it. Because church has changed in the 21st century. For decades, for centuries, church has been the same way. The guy stands up here, and then eventually they let gals do it too. Stand up here, and now they let theys do it. You know what I'm talking about, right? So they stand up here, and they just blah, la, 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 and you got to just sit there and go, yeah. And then suddenly, COVID came. We were trying to figure out how can we make this thing different? How can we make this thing new? And COVID said, I got an idea. Why don't we send everybody home, and you figure out how to get the message to them? So we did, and some of you have gotten so used to it that you like watching us from home or in your PJs drinking your morning coffee. Ain't mad at you, but some of us here would love to see you, and we got some seats for you. So if you're not in Minnesota or Wisconsin or South Carolina or Texas or Georgia, some of those places which are all watching us on a regular basis, then come on down here. We got a seat for you. Come visit with us. But you can always check it out right there at home, kicking back. It's okay. We don't mind. Yeah, because that's how we do church. That's how we do our mission. That's how we put our vision statement into action. And let's remind ourselves of it as we say it together right here and now. We're a community, inclusive, loving, and authentic. We celebrate all paths to God in gratitude, empowering self and others. We serve compassionately through outreach, inspiration, and education. That's who we are. That's why we're here. And here's what we do. We pray. Good morning, darling.
Good morning. So I feel like we already have been praying with the opening song. It was so great. And so we all get a chance to participate again, just silently to yourself. But our opening prayer, our blessing for the service, it really requires your participation, because as we pray, as we bless the service, we recognize, and here we go, we recognize that there's truly only one divine presence. One divine presence that is love, that is pure, that is peace and harmony and all-knowing and all-powerful, that it is present in all its fullness in every point of space and time. So it's right here in all its fullness, and it's expressing as all that there is. Therefore, it is expressing as the service this morning. It is expressing as all who serve in the service. It's expressing as all who participate right here and online. And so the expression is an expression of love and peace and harmony and well-being and knowingness. And for this, I'm so grateful. And therefore, I know that this service is blessed. And so it is. Reverend Stephen let me know that I could have stayed up here during the congregational song. But you know, you never know with this band. I could have stood up here for 10 minutes while they're singing, so I just went down.
Good call.
So it's time for our affirmation, and our affirmation really sets the tone of the service. You know, that is what Reverend Stephen's talk is really built around. So I'll say it first and then we'll say it together. As I pause to take in the divine view from here, I know more grace and goodness awaits over the horizon. Let's do it together. As I pause to take in the divine view from here, I know more grace and goodness awaits over the horizon. Okay. And the reading this morning is a poem by Hafiz, and it's called The Seed cracked open. It used to be that when I
shopping together in the market and picking each other while fixing the evening food. Now when I awake, all the internal instruments play the same music. God, what love, mischief, and we do for the world today. It used to be that when I would wake in the morning, I could with confidence say, what am I going to do? That was before the seeds were sown. Now have we certainty. There are two of us out in this one, and we shopping together in the market and taking each other about fixing the food. Now when I awake, all the internal instruments play the same music. God, what love, mischief, and beauty to the world.
Welcome back, Karie Hillary.
This will be about 20 minutes. Just kidding. I hope not, anyway. In the silence, it is holy. In the silence, there is peace. In the silence, there is everything my soul could ever need. In the silence, there is peace. In the silence, there is peace. In the silence, there are answers, and the silence fills my soul. In the silence, there is everything I need to make me whole. In the silence, there is peace. In the silence, there is peace. In the silence, there are answers, and the silence fills my soul. In the silence, there is everything I need to make me whole. In the silence, there is peace. In the silence, there is peace. In the silence, my heart opens. In the silence, I receive. In the silence, I am shown the way to manifest my dreams. In the silence, there is peace. In the silence, there is peace. In the silence, it is holy. In the silence, there is peace. In the silence, there is everything my soul could is peace in the silence. There is peace. Would you sing that with me? In the silence, there is peace. In the silence, there is peace.
And just close your eyes. And hear it in your mind. In the silence, there is peace. In the silence, there is peace. We'll be meditating for 3 minutes. And take a deep breath. And bring your awareness back to the sanctuary. And we invite you to practice meditation at home if you don't do so already. There are many forms of meditation, and one that stood out for me is like Carrie's song was just a meditation in itself. So even so when you wake up in the morning, just to play that and dive into it, will provide a great start of the day.
There is a path that leads through the tunnel. There is a light that shows us the way. There is a force that we can count on. Follow the light, don't be led astray. When we feel lost, we sit in the silence, and in this space, what is it we hear? That still small voice of divine guidance, and in that pause, the way becomes clear. Steve. Create that. Create that space to pause in the silence. Open your mind, open your ears. Infinite grace is on the horizon. Stay in that place. Just listen, you'll hear. Stay in that place. Listen, you'll hear that quiet place.
Thank you, Karie. Thank you, Soul Purpose Band. Beautiful, beautiful. Into the silence. Okay, so Johanna and I are taking this course from a guy named Resma Menikin. And in it, a lot of people get to tell their stories. And they get so animated in telling their stories that he goes, pause, pause, pause. I got you. Pause, pause, pause. And at first I was like, don't interrupt him, dude. But then it landed on me. Pause, pause, pause. What he's saying is stop where you are. Feel what you're talking about. Let the energy of that story die down so the feeling behind the story can rise up. And in the rush of life, sometimes we need to just pause. As Karie was telling us, go into the silence. Because what we're looking for, what we're moving for so fast sometimes, it's already here. There is already here. And no better time to recognize that than this time of year. I mean, think about it. You're eating Halloween candy, planning a Thanksgiving meal, writing out your Christmas list, thinking about your 2022 resolutions. I got a new calendar idea. I was sharing it with some friends this week. I told Johanna about it yesterday. This calendar, you got the blocks that you can write in. So here's my idea. And anybody who wants to take it on and can have it, I'm not owning it. The first year, January, February, March, April, May, and June. The The blocks are all the same size, nice big blocks you can write in. Then all life are here for us to get something from and not to run away from. And so maybe whatever the circumstances, we could just stop for a minute. Stop pushing so hard. Stop looking for the answers like we got to make the answer happen. Instead, maybe we can go into a rest period, into a sacred pause. Now, Dr. Holmes must have heard me talk about this. He said, now be careful with all this pause talk. He says that, what he says is, in Living the Science of Mind, we are not seeking a way to escape from life or living. For this would be the exact opposite of the whole purpose of existence, which is to express the self. So when you're taking the pause, it's not like you're trying to sand or go a turtle and go inside your shell and not have life. That's not the point. The point I'm bringing up here is that if we can go into the pause a little bit and take the time out for a little bit, maybe this expression of life can be more fulfilling. Maybe we can get a bigger message to ourselves and a deeper inspiration for the next best right action to take. You know, I was reading last week and I saw this line. It just landed on me. It was something about you can't catch a falling star unless you're standing under it. Our ideas come from the great infinite knowingness. And the great infinite knowingness is the entire universe itself. And when the universe came into existence, and exploded into the Big Bang, all the stardust popped out over everywhere and became planets and galaxies and suns and all that kind of stuff. And that same stardust is within all of us. I've told you before about the observatory at Griffith Park and the exhibit they have that shows all of the base elements after the universe expanded. All of the base elements after the Big Bang. They all have little lights on them. You push the button, it all lights up. Then it has another button, all the elements in a human being. And you push a button, and 14 of the same elements light up. Because those are in us. We truly are stardust itself. If we want to catch the divine idea, which is us, maybe we need to be standing under it. In other words, maybe we need to be standing in the understanding of it. Maybe, in other words, we need to pause to stand within ourselves to see what it is that we're next yet to say. Because Spirit is coming to us in many different vehicles, in many different ways, in many different channels, and sometimes it takes time to tune it in. I miss the old radio dial where you could tune the channel and get it just right. You know? Now you got to push the button. If it's not just right, that's just too bad. 80.7, 81.7, that's just it. But what if it's 81.7 and a half because you're so far away from the transmitter? You can't do that anymore. But we can do that ourselves. We can stop and pause and tune in and fine-tune things for ourselves so that we can do that great expression. Now, a friend of mine coined the phrase of ministers, he calls them permissionaries. Our mission is to give you permission to live the fullest life you can possibly live. So I'm not going to be the one to give you permission to pause, but I certainly can invite you to take that time, to allow a reset, to take time to breathe it in. I love it when Reverend Johanna tells us, take a breath. Sometimes I can run into the house and she'll say to me, take a breath. Sometimes you just have to take a breath. Take time to not know. To not know the answer. And to not know how you absolutely have to get the answer. To sit maybe with the ache that we might be pushing away from. To sit allowing ourselves just enough time to wake up. Allow ourselves just enough time to actually be okay. Brian Swim in the book Hidden Heart of the Cosmos talks about this exercise where and I've done it before. It really works well if you're at a beach that has a really big berm that goes down to the ocean. So you can lay against that berm. You know, you lay against the shoreline just before the waves are coming, and you just lay there, especially around sunset, and you just feel yourself on the earth. Just lay out on the earth in a great pausing moment, and then you can feel it. If you get really connected, and it took a while before it happened, but I can actually feel it. It felt like the whole planet was moving as the sun was setting. I could feel the planet rolling away from that part of the sun so that the light would turn to dark. That's what we're talking about, is to get to that place. And what a time to get there. I think we're all suffering from a collective exhaustion. The last 18, 19 months, last year and a half, just a collective exhaustion. They were talking about, all the workers are talking about it. Last month, what did they rename last month? Striketober. Because so many companies were going out on strike. You know, it's amazing. And, somebody give me a soapbox. No, but, you know, some businesses during COVID made billions of dollars. I mean, we bought more stuff. The poor Amazon, UPS, and FedEx guys, I mean, some guys show up and boom, 5 packages are landing on your doorstep. And then tomorrow, 5 more packages. We bought. And then some guys are working over the John Deere plant. They just wanted a little increase in their salary. And what did John Deere tell them? We're going to give you 1% more. 1% more. The chairman of John Deere made 140% increase in his salary. And they're going to give him 1% more. Whew, okay. Where's my soapbox? Kick it away. I'm done. But the point I'm trying to make is it's exhausting. We're exhausted from all of that and from all the kind of figures out of who gets what and how's it get distributed and who's going to do what. Maybe what we need to do is take this time out. It's not a mistake. It's not a failing to stop. You're not going to fail, and you're not going to make a mistake if you just stop for just a minute. A lot of people have decided to make that stop. They coined this other phrase, the great resignation, when people are leaving their jobs like crazy because they're understanding that maybe we need to take a little pause in our time so that we can take some moments to really embrace the wonder that is life itself. If we're so busy earning and buying and shopping and making lists and rushing to the store and getting through traffic and running lights, I didn't mean to this morning, but I just did, and it wasn't my fault, I'm sorry. But all that stuff, you know, I caught myself in that this morning. I was racing and running and ran a red light. Oh my God, thank goodness there was nobody coming. But it's all because I'm not allowing myself that time to reset, to breathe, to not know, to roll with the earth. In many ways, I think the exhaustion that we're all suffering is the divine intelligence speaking to us. It's divine intelligence saying, let go. Just stop for a minute. I got you. In this one moment, maybe we could take the now moment and let it be a curious cosmic dance and just say, what are you asking me to do? What are you asking me to do? I'll do it. Let me inform me into what's going on. Jeff Foster talks about that in his book. A whole book he's dedicated to resting. He calls it the way of rest. And he says, let your present experience become the most fascinating thing in all the universe. Think how rich our lives could be if we could take each and every moment. And it's only going to last a moment, so it doesn't take a lot of time. It only takes consciousness, right? To take every moment and have it be the most fantastic thing. This moment right here, where I get to look out at all of your beautiful faces. I'm going to take this moment in. This is a fantastic opportunity just to see love back and love back and forth, and feel that exchange between all of us. Can you do that with each moment? Make it the most fascinating thing you could possibly make it. Now, you might be thinking, if I take all this time, what about my good? What's going to happen? Well, don't worry. Spirit is very patient. Spirit is not sitting around tapping its toe, wondering when you're going to show up. In fact, Spirit is simply standing by, always waiting your recognition of it. That's what science mind tells us. Spirit awaits our recognition. And as soon as we recognize our connection with the divine, that's when it goes to work to deliver our good. So this pause that we're taking is a time to realign, to tune ourselves back into that space in the cross between the horizontal left and the horizontal space on the cross, which is the time and space that we're living in, and the universal space, which is what the vertical is representing. And here we are right in the middle. And that time of rest puts us right in that middle so that we can get into what is next for us. And the great news here is that the universe, the divine intelligence, is constantly dropping little breadcrumbs along the way to show us where we need to go. Now, sometimes those breadcrumbs are kind of mysterious because sometimes those breadcrumbs look like problems, challenges, opportunities, lost jobs, busted up relationships, car crashes, and stock market crashes, and strikes, and people not knowing what job they want to take, and giving up their jobs, and freaking out their families. You did what? You quit your job? Yeah, I did. But the universe has dropped a breadcrumb that said, there's something more for you to do. That's why that change came upon. And the Spirit is waiting. It's saying, don't worry about it. See, these mysteries, they invite a moment for our heart to soften. For us to break through the barricades that are surrounding our tenderness. You know, life puts up such a challenge sometimes that we want to put some resistance against that. I'm tough, guys especially. I'm tough. You just fell off the roof, man. I'm okay. I'm good. But your arm's hanging off. That's all right. I'm fine. You know, that's how some of us grew up in the 50s and the 60s and even into the 70s. It's just now recently in the 90s and the 2000s that male kids could grow up and go, ow, and especially it's okay. You know, how are you feeling? Feeling? Nobody asked me how I was feeling when I was 12 years old. I didn't have time for being feeling. I got to get on the ball field and play baseball or something, you know. But now you get to, so we need to work at how do we break through the barricades to that tender space, to that heart space, to that divine space where the most amazing thing and fascinating thing is happening is what's happening right here in this moment. See, we are at choice. We are at choice whether we're going to harden up around life, tough it out, or whether we're going to burst into bloom. The fires, we've been talking about the fires. And this year, you know, there's still fires, but not nearly like it was last year. And let's hope that as we go deeper into the season, it continues to stay more in the natural range. Because I say natural range because, you know, there are a lot of the plants in our western forest will not burst in, their seeds will not burst open without fire. They need fire. We don't need to repress all the fire. Some seeds need fire. And you know, I think the divine intelligence created us, each one of us, as kind of those seeds. When life's going along really well, it's hard to change. It takes a lot of spirit, a lot of willpower to make a change when your life is going good, to get it from good to better. But oh boy, when your life's all screwed up, and I'm not wanting to, you know, take another word with this, when your life is full of that, my goodness, you're ready to make a change. When fire is happening in your life, you're going to burst into bloom. Well, maybe we don't have to wait for the fire in our life to burst into bloom. Maybe we can just stop in this moment and ask the divine presence, how can I bloom into the most wonderful experience of life possible for me? And the message will come to us. But we have to do what Sarah Blunden said she wished someone had told her earlier in her life. She says, what I wish someone had told me was that the first step we must all take in our life needed to be inward. Needed to be inward. Can we take that step in? Remember, Spirit is waiting your recognition. It's not sitting around tapping its foot, tapping on the thing. Where are you? Where are you? Wondering. Spirit has infinite patience because it's infinity. So it's fine. It has dropped little bitty breadcrumbs along the way to help you get to where you need to go. And it loves us. And it is us. See, that's the beauty of our Science and Mind teaching. We understand that the God that is the God that is within. And the God it is expressed through each and every one of us. So when we're taking that time, we're taking God time to get with God so that we can be more expressions of that thing that was within us. And sometimes that takes a little paradoxical life. Sometimes that means we have to be in the space of knowing and not knowing. The paradoxical place of knowing and not knowing. And understand that some of the happiest moments might be when we admit that we just don't know. Some of the happiest moments might be if we understand that we don't have to know right now. We simply have to be. And in the being, we learn what to do. And we don't have to know this moment. We don't have to know this day. We don't have to know this month. We don't even have to know this year. Think about your own life and some of the journeys to success in your life. It did not happen in a day or a moment. It happened in a moment, on a day, in a month, of a year, but not in those time spans necessarily. Now, what we may not know is one thing, and we can work with that one. But there is something that we do know. And I spoke about it a minute ago. I'll say it again. And that is that we are loved by the divine. The self-givingness of Spirit has given itself and its love to each and every one of us. We know that we are always loved. We were loved before we were named. We were loved before we gave birth. Before we were born. We were loved before, even before the life of overwhelm came and smacked us around a little bit. Even then we were loved. And that energy of love that's within us is supported by the great divine way shower. This thing that is life. See, life is everything. So all the stuff that happens is part of life. And so the stuff that happens that feels really, that's part of life too. That's part of the loving experience. And it wouldn't happen to you if you didn't have the capacity to move through it. So trust that. Trust that you can move through it because it's happened to you. And if it happened to somebody that you know, you can tell them the same thing. It's okay. It happened to you. Whew. And you can get through it. You know? I know, right? Sometimes you just go, boy, I'm glad that wasn't me. But then 2 weeks later, oh my God, look what happened to me. That's just the way life is going to happen that way. Jeff Foster says that sometimes life brings us to our knees. But why? So that we will feel everything we've been running away from all our lives. Sometimes the lessons in life are coming at us with little soft balsa wood taps on the shoulder. And we just, and then it comes back with a little fir piece of wood. And then they bring out the cherry wood or the mahogany and they start rocking around in front of you going bang, bang. And you go, oh, okay. Sometimes we've been running away from stuff that life's been trying to get our attention to all the time. Remember the breadcrumbs, the breadcrumbs, the breadcrumbs? Sometimes they become rocks and boulders and we stumble over them until we finally have to get up and feel that experience that we've been running around from. And until you pause, you may not get that experience or that lesson, that understanding. Life sometimes it's like a whirlpool, and the whirlpool can feel like a stream, and the stream can turn into a raging river, and the river might flow into an ocean, but that's okay because the ocean is the infinite space of everything. It's that cosmic ocean. So when your whirlpool turns into a stream and starts racing along like a river and it flows into the ocean, that's good news because that's where infinite possibilities exist. But you get there through that time out, through that pause. That's when we find out that we're not separate from anything that's happened to our lives or anything that is in our lives. We're connected to it always. And that connection happens because we are part of that giving thing, that life, that intelligence. And one of the ways it works more fastly, that's a good word. The way it works more quickly for us is when we can discover that we need not worry so much. And that's a hard one. The worry is a hard one. The habit of worry. Sometimes worry seems like the only way to get something done because when you're worrying, at least you think you're doing something, but you're not doing anything but ceaselessly praying for the very thing that you don't want to happen. And the universe is all about giving you that is the propensity of your consciousness. The thing you think about most. Not like believe you think about most, but the thing you feel within most. Because the universe is really listening to that feeling tone. It's got a big ear for the heart and not as much of an ear for your mouth. So what it's feeling you doing, that's what it's going to bring into your life, you see. But if you can break yourself free of worry, because worry blocks the grace that life is trying to give to us. Worry is it dams up the divine flow that's trying to come into our lives. And grace is an amazing thing. We don't talk a lot about grace in the science of mind. We haven't completely redefined it as much because grace is something that's kind of maybe a more traditional Christian idea that is given to you because of your sins. You've been given grace. But no. Grace is what we call grace, is really that self-givingness of the divine that God gave of its creation and continues to give its creation every single day. It wants to provide for us because that's the only way that it can be fully expressed, is by us moving forward with that impetus that has been put into us through the divine presence, you see. So when we sit and worry, when we race through life, when we don't take time out to go inward a little bit, then the grace doesn't have its chance to work in our lives. We block it up. But what we need to do is to struggle a little bit less so that more grace can come into our experience. When my cousin Paul was trying to teach me how to surf in Hawaii, I had no space for grace. I was on that surfboard and that ocean. He had me on the longboard, as the longboards are a little easier to work with, so he said. That longboard went flying up in the air. I went down into the ocean. I was spinning around. The board was spinning around. It was terrible. I thought I was going to drown. I finally got out of the water. I'm not going back in there again. He says, no, you're going back. No, yes. No, yes. So I went back out. He says, but this time, when the board goes flying up in the air and you go flying in the water, I want you to just lay straight out in the water. Just lay out and just be in it. I go, what? Just don't fight it. Surrender to it. Surrender to the catastrophe of drowning. Okay. So I did, and lo and behold, like in 2 seconds, I floated to the top of the water, and there was the board sitting right there next to me, waiting for me to climb back on top of it. So I thought I would test it, because that's just how I am, because I wasn't a religious scientist then, but I was a tester. So I think I was destined to be a religious scientist. So the next time I went out and the board went out, I fought to get to the board. I just kept going deeper into the water and getting tossed around and around and around. Finally, I remember what he said, relax, surrender. I did. Floated back up. There was the board. Life is a lot like that. That's a lot like that. In the pause, we create the space for grace. We create the space for the board to carry us to shore, for life to bring the solution that will carry us to resolution. See, grace reaches through the density of experience, the thickness of experience, the heartache of experience. It softens the tenderness area, and it moves through the struggle and gives us energy against the tiredness. As we struggle less, we get more grace. And that happens when we pause just a little bit. See, grace pulls the stuckness away from us and helps us move forward toward the truth and toward the meaningful things in life. But those can't happen when we're racing around, struggling, trying to make it happen instead of allowing it to happen. A simple thing. Let is a powerful word. Let go. Let God. Let it be. Simple. Dennis Merritt Jones says grace is the givingness of spirit to its creation. Givingness of spirits to its creation. And Sarah Blondin says, and it's in her book, Heart Minded, if we allow grace's call, if we allow its call, we discover that underneath the knots and the noise of our lives sits a loving presence, unaffected by what is happening on the outside, a universal current leading us all to a state of acceptance and peace. And that acceptance and that peace is found in the moment of pause, where we know that we are one with God, that God is good, and then life is good when you pause. So with that, I hit the pause button, and so it is. So our affirmation. As I pause to take in the divine view from here, I know more grace and goodness awaits over the horizon. Yes. Sweet. Hi. Let's do our revealing prayer. This is a moment when we let some of that, where we take a pause and we let some of that grace settle in on us. Let some of that divine inspiration arise through us. Align ourselves with the power that is greater than we are, but that is also what we are. And we use that power for a greater experience of life. How would you like to see a greater experience of life in your life today? If you have a feeling, emotion, an idea, what we call a manifestation that you're waiting to happen, let's bring it into reality right now through a shared prayer. I open the room up for any prayer requests that you might have at this moment. Sensing and feeling that divine presence in this moment, by consciously putting my ideas on it, my awareness on it, I reveal an alignment to something that already is, that always is. For God always is, as we always are, a part of it. It is a part of us. It is only by choice that we can separate ourselves from this divine presence. And equally, it is by choice that we can combine, align, and unify with this presence. So I unify with this presence right here and now. And in doing so, I bring a sense of power and strength and energy to the words I speak, so that the divine law hears these words and feels the intentions on my heart and brings them into manifestation in my life and the life of all those with whom I pray today. So I speak this word of truth on behalf of each and every one of us, knowing that divine harmony is easily ours to realize and to live. That right action is following through on every inspired idea, any sense of struggle, any idea of lack and limitation, anywhere that there is a sense of injustice or discomfort is right now relieved by the understanding that when I call upon the divine answers with a yes. And then I am inspired into the right and perfect action to bring about the most joyous experience of life that I can possibly have. This is the truth of my being, and I know as I say this for myself, and I'm saying it for every person here, that we are living in a prosperous experience, that we are living an abundant life, that we are filled with the right ideas and the joyous activities that bring harmony to ourselves and to the world. There's something great breaking out in the world. It may look like chaos at the surface, but down underneath, the ocean is still at the bottom, and that bottom stillness is rising up every day by this word that I speak. So I right now know that peace and prosperity are pervading us all, lifting us up and filling us with a sense of satisfaction and gratitude, which is what I have for this word spoken and for the powers and presence that allow this word to be spoken and for the way in which Dr. Holmes has distilled these teachings that allow us to use this power that is greater than we are for the purpose of making life greater for all that are. And we do that now and here by releasing this word to that perfect law that says, and so it is. Thank you. Karie. Oh, no. That's right. Reverend Johanna. Thank you.
So during this portion of the service, we do the practice of giving. And there are different ways to give, and you see them right there on the screen. But what I would like to do today is, Reverend Stephen has been talking about feeling, so that we get in the feeling tone of giving with a joyful heart. Okay? So you can close your eyes or keep your eyes open, but tune into your heart. And you might have already given online. You might be, you might give automatically. You might give later. You might give now. But in the meantime, just tune in to that joy in your heart and that generosity of making your offering. And so when the basket comes by, either you can put in your offering or you can put your hand over it as a blessing. And just know that when you come with this feeling tone of joy and generosity, when you give, you bless the center. And so with this feeling tone, let's say our abundance prayer. Divine love is doing its perfect work here and now. Divine love harmonizes, divine love adjusts, divine love prospers. Divine love foresees everything and richly provides every good thing for CSL Simi Valley now. Divine love is victorious. And with great gratitude, I give thanks for this offering this morning and the offering that has been given online in myriad ways, knowing that it is given joyously and with a generous heart, and that the center and the giver are blessed. And so it is.
Like the balance of the seasons, winter, spring, and fall. I am able, I am learning to be grateful for it all.
Karie Hillary, Solar Purpose Band, and the L. The L. Yeah, and the L. Thank you guys. That's beautiful. Lovely, lovely today. Thank you, Dee, on the slides. Dee Miller on the slides. Got Terry on the booth and Gregory overseeing the whole thing. She did a great job. Lovely, lovely. All right. Then our service team today, it's Ron Young, Costa, and then I saw Linda and Becky. Thank you so much for your support today. If we have any guests or visitors today, Karen Stelk will be available after the service. Raise your hand, Karen. She's got some brochures and stuff to hand out. She'll give you a tour of the building and help you find whatever you might need to find, a tour of the library. Go into the library. You know, you can take any book you want and take it home and read it. And after you finish reading it, then give it to somebody else to read, you know, because that's what we do. It's a circulation library, circulating it out of here. It's practicing the law of abundance. That's what we do. Reverend Johanna will be available right after service. Thank you for your prayers today and for your prayer requests. She will meet you right under the exit sign after service for a quick pray-in. Okay, I think I got everybody.
Karie has CDs.
You do? That's beautiful. Karie has CDs. She'll be out in the lobby for you. Fantastic. Thank you so much. And how about the Cosmic Kids? Come on out. Looks like candle making.
Good morning. Emily is going to tell you about how you are like a candle.
Oh.
All right? You want me to just hold this while you talk? Yeah. Okay, go.
How you are a candle is, well, all the inner flame is in the inside of you, and we write all of these words down. Family, intelligence, thoughts, feelings, life, friends, and all sorts of words like that.
Where does that come from?
Fantastic. And you made that candle today?
Yeah.
That's beautiful. What's that? What's on there? It's beeswax and what's the
These
heart?
are flowers, and this one right here, I wanted it to resemble something, and I thought it could be like there's like the two purple hearts there, and I see like either if you're up or down, God will still be there with you.
Very true.
Yes.
Yes, spoken like a minister. I like that. I like that. Very
So
good.
that was our morning about lighting up the world. Remember, you're like a candle too. The other part too is when you light the candle, when you glow, the wax that is dispensed off the candle is the experiences that you leave in the world.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Oh, look at my candle a whole new way now. All right. Thank you for that. All right, let's all stand and do our closing benediction. And remember, Reverend Johanna with poetry is this week here in the service. We'll have it here in the sanctuary and also live on Zoom. And then in a couple of weeks, we'll have those Thanksgiving services. We'll talk more about that next Sunday. Here we are. I'm at home in the heart of God. My life is anchored in truth. I can never be separate. I live in the consciousness of peace. I release all fear. I am living love.
I release my